When we talk about the angle, the very first thing that comes to our mind is circle. So basically what we are going to talk about today, we are going to talk about angle and how to measure angle. So the topic is angle measure. Alright? So in order to talk about angle measure, I'm going to talk about a circle. So as you can see, this is my circle with center O. Alright? So this is my circle with center O, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider 2 points. Let me change the color so that you can see. So I'm going to consider 2 points. This point is my A and this point is my B. So basically, this is the center of the circle. I should write center. So this is my center O of the circle. This is the center of the circle, and I have 2 points A and B. And this outer part of the circle is called circumference. Circumference. Alright? Okay. Now, if I connect this point O with A or O with B, then this is this one, this line, or maybe this line. Both these two lines that I have, OA and OB, they are called radius. They are called radius. So let me write here. O is my center. OA is same as or equal to OB, and that is called radius. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider my radius as r. I'm going to consider as a small r as my radius. And AB, I'm going to write AB, and then I will make a arc at the top that says that this is my arc AB, and this is how I read. So if I have AB or anything written with this symbol at the top, I will read it as arc. So don't get confused with a line, because when we use a line, suppose I mean line AB, then I will write AB and a straight line at the top. But I'm writing arc, so I'm making a curve at the top. So the difference between the line and the arc is this symbol. So if I have this symbol, I will read it as arc. But if I have this symbol, I will read it as line segment. I will read it as line segment AB. So don't get confused with line segment. For this expression, we're talking about arc AB. So we have AB and a curve at the top of AB. So we're not talking about segment, but we're talking about arc. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is this. And I'm going to use the symbol theta. And that theta is known as angle. So how do I define an angle? Let's define an angle. So the angle is basically defined as angle is equal to arc over radius. Angle is defined as arc over radius. So as you can see, my arc is AB and my radius can be any of these ones, OB or OA, so I'm going to take it OA. So my angle is basically arc over radius. Now, for this arc AB, I'm going to consider symbol S. So then I will write everything in terms of symbols. So basically this arc AB, I'm going to consider it as a small s. So my angle theta is equal to arc, which is a small s, over radius, which is r. So my angle theta is s over r. Alright? Now, here's the thing. There are two units. Now let's talk about some properties of angle. So the very first property, if we measure the angle clockwise, if the angle is measured clockwise, it's a negative, negative, negative angle. But if I measure the angle counterclockwise, counterclockwise, some people call it anti-clockwise. Some people call it anti-clockwise. So if I measure the angle counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, the angle is positive. So the value of angle is positive angle. So again, let me say it again. If you measure the angle clockwise, the angle is negative. But if you measure the angle counterclockwise, that is positive. And what is these two things? So in order to explain this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to consider a clock. So this is my clock. Let's pretend this is my clock. And this is how the clock is: 12, 3, 6, and 9. Then I have a minute or second hand or hour hand that goes this way. It goes from 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, and then from 9 to 12. If this is the movement of the clock, then we call it, this movement is basically known as clockwise. Now, for some reason, if I have a clock that goes from 12 to 9, 9 to 6, 6 to 3, and then 3 to 12, then this movement of the clock is known as counterclockwise. All right? Now, there another thing that we want to talk about. The third thing that we want to talk about the angle is unit. So just to remind you, we have two different ways to measure an angle. So the first unit that we use is called degrees. So we can measure the angle in degrees. And the second unit that we can use to measure an angle is called radians. So either degrees or radian. So we have two different ways to measure the angle. The one way to measure the angle is degrees, like that's the one unit, and the second unit is a radian. So we have two units that we can use to measure an angle. And at some point we will talk about the difference between degree and radian and how they are related, and like what kind of tools we can use to convert from degree to radian and from radian to degree. But this is all about how to measure an angle.